Hey everyone, Mitch coming in for the Commander Core Studio. Welcome to the show. So on today's episode, I am urging you, don't go buy that Precon. Do this instead. And this would be, check out this deck because I built a more budget-friendly version of the Precon deck built around Ellivere? I don't know how you say that. Of the Wild Court. There we go. I know how to build decks, not say names apparently. Regardless, on this episode, I'm going to be taking you through my deck around this commander. Talking about, well, just how my budget version can go toe-to-toe, if not take that other version down. Take that Precon version down with synergy, with 50 cent or less cards. That's right. This is an incredibly budget-friendly deck. The commander itself is $7 right now. You might be able to get cheaper later, or just use a proxy version of it. Or if you already have it, great, cool. But yeah, the actual cost of the rest of the deck is like $17 or so. The total cost of the deck is just $24.16. Incredibly budget-friendly. Now, that does include basic lands or shipping, but keep that in mind still. Regardless, let's talk about the commander first. Let's get into those tactics. A 4/4 Human Knight for 2 green and a white. Enters the battlefield or attacks, create a virtuous roll token, attach to a target creature you control. Whenever enchant creature you control deals combination to a player, draw a card. A virtuous roll is going to be one that says, hey, ++1 for each enchantment you control. So that can be a massive effect. One that says, you know what? Hey, I've got 10 enchantments in play because that's what I'm doing. And all of a sudden, this tiny little creature is now a massive threat. So, yeah, it's a very easily usable and abusable ability. Again, a trigger that happens when it enters the battlefield or attacks. We, of course, got plenty of ways to take advantage of that. So, yeah, ways to take advantage of that, ways to take advantage of our creatures getting through, drawing a lot of cards, getting a lot of juicy value, getting more enchantments in play, getting more auras in play. What's not to love about that? Again, especially with the price tag right here. Again, $24.16 compared to what I've seen online, around $40 or $50 for these Precons. So yeah, a big savings there for you. If you are interested in this deck, make sure you check out that deck list link in the description below. With all that said, let's jump into the tactics. Let's start things off with tack number 1, Enchanted Evening. And first up there, of course, is Wayfarer's Bauble. Pay 2 tap, sacrifice, go get a base land, and a play tap. So even if we just start off with like 2 planes in our hand, we can still ramp effectively with this. Next up, Enchantment Bauble, Fawn of Fertility. Pay 1 and a green, sacrifice, go get a base, gonna play tap, then shuffle again. We care about the number of enchantments in play. We care about having enchantments in play. We care about getting enchantments in play with many things. So yeah, another enchantment that can help us ramp. That is huge. Wild Growth, another great one. Enchantment Aura. Put it on a land for just a single mana, and then all of a sudden, it lets that land tap for essentially twice as much again. Tap for an extra green. Speaking of which, Fertile Ground. This one's going to basically do the exact same thing, but now we can tap that land for any extra mana, essentially. 1 mana of either of our colors. Then we've got Wolf Willow Haven. Again, it just has for an extra green. We can also sacrifice to make a 2/2 Wolf if we're going to need to. Then we've got Rampant Growth. Again, some more standard ramp package here as well. Go get a base land and play tap for 2 mana. We also have Farhaven Elf. Farhaven Elf, say 1/1 Elf Druid for 3 mana. ETBs, go to base, gonna play tap. Again, just kind of filling the board with creatures. Again, even though it's just a 1/1, this can be a massive threat. Again, that Virtuous Roll token aura on it, essentially, that can pump it a ton and make it into a huge threat. So we also have Overgrowth, another aura. Again, another enchantment that we're gonna be utilizing as well. 3 mana, enchant a land, basically going to be giving that land a boost of extra green. Again, 3 mana for basically ramp 2. That is huge. Search for Tomorrow, another great spell. Again, potentially turn 1, play 4, suspend 2 for a green. Go get a base, gonna play untapped. And finally, Springwood Druid. Again, like Farhaven Elf, another body to have in play. A 1/1, enters the battlefield, sacrifice a land, go get 2 basics, and play tap. So again, ramping and fixing, and also just another body to have on the field. That is huge. But we're not quite done with mana just yet, so moving on to attack number 2, less is more. First up, we've got Jukai Naturalist for 2 mana. We've got a 2/2 with lifelink. Again, that can be huge because making this into a heavy hitter, we can gain a ton of life with it. On top of that, enchantment spells you cast cost 1 to cast, reduce the cost of a lot of our spells by a ton. Next up, Transcendent Envoy, a bit more specific, but still very good. A 1/2 flyer, so again, make this into a deadly flying machine. That all says aura spells you cast cost 1 to cast, so again, we've got a ton of auras in this deck. Let's reduce their cost. Speaking of which, Danth Capuchin Paragon, 2/2, First Strike, Vigilant, Lifelink, all huge keywords to have. We can make this into a heavy hitter. On top of that, aura and equipment spells cost 1 to cast, so again, a great way to reduce that cost to save us mana, to help us cast spell after spell after spell in a turn. Now, as good as all these cards are, there is one, in my opinion, that stands above the rest. Let's talk about the golden pig of this deck, the number one card in 99, and that is Skybind. My goodness, can this card do so much work for this deck. Enchantment for 3 white Constellation. Whenever it or another enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, exile target non-enchantment permanent. Return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. This is pretty gross. This is basically just, oh, okay, yeah, blink your commander, blink it again, blink it again, blink it again. Because again, every single time our commander comes into play, it makes a virtuous roll token, which is an enchantment aura. So that's going to trigger Skybind. So you put that on a creature, then all of a sudden you say, okay, my commander's gone, and then back. My commander comes back, makes another one, and then another one. Basically, every single end step, we're going to be making an extra one. Have fun with that. Being able to just basically make it so that all of your creatures have the virtuous roll token on them, that can be absolutely huge. Can take advantage of other constellation effects as well. Yeah, a really, really good card for this deck, and definitely worthy of the title of Golden Pig. Next up, let's talk about attack number 4, Don't Blink, because yeah, we've got even more great ways to blink our commander, take advantage of that ETB. Cloud Shift is a very simple, very easy one. 1 mana, blink your commander, let it go away, let it come back, and all of a sudden, yeah, coming back, getting another token into play. And also, again, with these blink effects, great ways to protect your commander as well. Next up, Flicker Wisp. ETBs, hey, blink a creature, and then essentially, all of a sudden, it's going to go away and come back at the end step. So another great way to say, get rid of it for the time being. It'll be back. It can also avoid a board wipe as well. A 3/1 flyer as well, in case we, want to make this into a huge heavy hitter. Speaking of another flyer, though, we've got a 3/3 with Guardian of Garapor, a 3/3 flyer. ETBs, exile up to one target creature artifact you control, bring it right back at the end step. So again, another way to say, hey, you know what? Just sit this one out for a little bit, and when you come back, get that ETB again. For 3 mana, we also have a 0 of Deferment. 2/2 Flash, enters the battlefield to make exile target creature if it attacked or blocked this turn. Turn the card to the battlefield at the beginning of the next end step. So with this commander, we can actually take advantage of that attack trigger as well. So swing with your commander, protect it in combat with this, get that trigger, and all of a sudden, get this into play, bring it away, bring it back, get that ETB again. Then there's Gale Powder Mage. This can really, really, really help with this commander. 3/3 flyer. All of a sudden, when this attacks, you exile a target creature, return the card to the battlefield under its owner's control to the next end step. So again, take advantage of your commander's attack trigger while also taking advantage of its ETB as well in the same turn. Turn after turn after turn. Next up, Glimmerpoint Stag. Very simple, very effective. 3/3 Vigilance. So again, Vigilance, swing freely with this and make this into an absolute monster thanks to your commander. But also in this ETBs, exile a target permanent, return to the battlefield at the beginning of the end step. Then we've got Icewind Stalwart. 3/3 ETBs, exile a non-warrior, then return to the battlefield under its control. Restoration Angel. Flash Flying. Basically do the exact same thing, but we're going to be blinking on Angel, which our commander is not an Angel. Then there's Semester's End. This one can actually be a great way to save our entire team. Exile any number of target creatures and our planeswalkers. Again, bring them back at the end step if they're creatures that come back to play with +1 counters on them. So basically a giant way to save everything we need to save, or also just, blink our commander when we need to. But now let's move on to attack number 5, Massive Pump, because again, with our commander, we're going to be getting a lot of enchantments in play, but also we've got a lot of enchantments in this deck, so take advantage of all that with Ethereal Armor. Enchant creature gets +1 for each enchantment you control and has first strike. A fantastic way to turn any of our creatures into a massive threat, including our commander, and a great way to protect in combat as well. Next up, All That Glitters. +1 for each artifact and or enchantment you control, so again, that can be even more potentially. Then we've got Battle Mastery. Enchant creature has double strike. A great way to say, hey, you know what? Let's really take advantage of not only the power again. We can turn our commander into a 2-shot KO or a 1-shot KO very easily with this, but also whenever an enchant creature hits an opponent, we're going to be drawing a card. And with Double Strike, we're going to be doing that twice. So we're also going to be running Duelist Heritage. Whenever one of our creatures attack, you may have target attack and creature gain Double Strike until end of turn. This one can be used in politics as well. Hey, if an opponent swing at someone else, we'll give that creature Double Strike, okay? But also, yeah, just with us, hey, one of our creatures is always going to have Double Strike to double up on that value. Speaking of which, Sigarda's Vanguard, Flash, Flying, huge right there. Being able to take advantage of this coming into play and saying, hey, when it enters the battlefield or attacks, choose any of our creatures with different powers. Those creatures gain Double Strike until end of turn, so a great way to pump a lot of our creatures and double up on that value, double up on that heavy hittingness. But now let's move on to tactic number 6 coming through, and my goodness, our opponent's going to have no chance once we get Champion of Lampholt in play. A 1/1. But not going to be a 1/1 for long. Creatures with power less than Champion of Lampholt's power can't block creature control. Whenever that creature enters the battlefield under your control, you get a counter on this. So again, get a Virtuous Roll token on this. And of course, also, yeah, just grow this again and again and again as creatures come into play, as you're blinking your commander. all of a sudden your opponents can't block any of your creatures at all. So get them all through, draw a ton of cards, take your opponents out. Next up, Garrick's Uprising. You can also go over your opponent's creatures to get through to your opponents. Enters the battlefield, you control a creature power 4 or greater, draw a card. It's a low bar to meet. Creatures control of trample. Whenever a creature power 4 or greater is battlefield control, draw a card. So yeah, a lot of card advantage potential here. But yeah, also, hey, with those giant creatures that you're going to be having, have them swing through and get damage through, and your opponents up, you draw some cards. You can also just, use Lure to basically be a one-sided board wipe that also gets all your other creatures through. Enchant creature, all creatures able to block enchant creature do so. So they're going to block that one creature, probably take out their entire army with how big that creature is that's attacking, and all of a sudden all your other creatures get through to take out that opponent. Next up, Brawn. Brawn can help us even when it's not in play. A 3/3 trample, so sure, it can help us with trample, getting through an opponent, but also as long as it's in your graveyard and you control a forest, creature control of trample, we're going to have a forest. This is going to be a great way to give all of our creatures trample, and if our opponents don't remove this from our graveyard, that's going to be permanent. Next up, Dragon Throne of Tarkir, a great repeatable way to say, hey, let's make all our creatures massive. Creatures defender and pay 2 tap. Other creature control gain trample and get +X until after X this creature's power. So again, give this on a creature that is massive, our biggest creature perhaps. All of a sudden, pump the rest of your army an absurd amount, swing out and take out your opponents. Also, Thunderfoot Baloth, a great one as well. 5/5 trampling with Lieutenant. As long as you control your commander, it's going to get +2/+2, and other creature you control get +2/+2 and have trample. A great way to say, our army is even more deadly, and all of a sudden we get through with a ton of damage. But that's about new tactic number 7. Stick around because we've got plenty of ways to protect our things as well. And first up, we've got an Aura. Hyena Umbra, enchant creature. Enchant creature gets ++1 as first strike, and it's also got totem armor. So protect a creature in combat potentially. And also, again, totem armor means that if the enchant creature be destroyed, instead remove all damage from it, destroy this aura. So basically a, get out of jail free card. Next up, Royal Treatment. Speaking of that, instant for a single green mana. Target creature control gains Hex until end of turn. Also get a Royal Roll attached to it. So that is a way to give it Ward 1, which can be huge. So great, again, get off jail free card right now, and also a good deterrent in the future too. Then we've got Spider Umbra, yet another totem armor. ++1 in reach, another great way to just protect that creature and also give it reach. There's Benevolent Blessing, enchant creature. Whenever enchant creature, when this enters the battlefield, choose a color. Essentially, we are going to say, hey, whatever color we want. The enchant creature gets protection with the chosen color, and that's not going to remove the auras, essentially. So basically, we can choose, white or green. That's fine. Whatever we need to choose, this can help get the creatures through. Can help protection, from certain spells. You can flash it in to take out, a dangerous spell that might be taking something out. Then we've got Snake Umbra, ++1, and whenever this creature deals combination with opponent, draw a card. A great way to get even more card advantage out of this on top of the totem armor to protect it as well. There's Unquestioned Authority. Centers the battlefield, draw a card, so it replaces itself, which is great. Enchant creature's got protection from creatures, so basically, this creature is unblockable. We are getting through no matter what, which can be absolutely huge. Finally, Besotted Knight. This is a 3/3 simple knight for just 4 mana, but also Betroth the Beast for a single white mana, sorcerer adventure, created Royal Roll, token attached to our creature control. Again, Ward 1 on a creature, so that can be absolutely huge. And again, just being another body in play, that can be huge later in the game as well. Let's move on to tactic number 8, Dig Deep, because yeah, we've got so many ways outside of our commander to generate a lot of card advantage, and just dig deeper into our attack. First up, Danethut, New Benalia's Light, a 2/2 with Vigilance, Trample, and Lifelink. So yeah, a great creature to get absolutely massive. Once during each of your turns, you may cast an aura equipment spell from your graveyard, so a great way to just get extra value out of our auras in our graveyard. Speaking of which, Enchantress Presence, a great way to get advantage out of any of our enchantments. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, draw a card. Next up, Hunter's Insight, a great instant speed combat trick. Choose target creature control. Whenever that creature is combined to a player or planeswalker this turn, draw that many cards. This can just be a card that draws us upwards of 10 cards very easily for just 3 mana instant speed. There's Mace Enchantress. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, you may draw a card. Yet another great Enchantress. Speaking of which, Satyr Enchanter. Cast an enchantment spell, draw a card. We're going to be casting a lot of enchantments, drawing a lot of cards thanks to these. Moving on, your Temple's under attack, very flexible. Choose one, creature control get indestructible on a turn, or you and target opponent each draw 2 cards. So for Desperate, let's draw some cards. We can make a deal with the opponent, like, hey, you don't attack me, I don't attack you, let's draw some cards. Or also, hey, someone casts a Wrath, let's protect the team. Moving on, Harmonize, very simple card draw, 4 mana, 3 cards, what's not to love about that. And finally, Sage's Rarity, oh my gosh, this card is so good. Enters the battlefield, draw a card for each, or you control its attached to a creature. That can very easily, again, be like 10 plus cards. On top of that, ++1 for each, or you control its attached to a creature. So this creature is going to be absurdly massive. Basically, again, if this is on your commander, probably one-shot KO with your commander quite easily once you're set up properly. And also get a giant draw spell for you. Have fun with that. Speaking of fun, though, let's move on to tactic number 9, Value Town. First up, we got Siona, Captain of the Piles. 2/2, enters the battlefield with the top 7 cards of the library. You can reveal an aura from among them in your hand, so basically some nice card selection there. On top of that, though, whenever an aura comes attached to a creature control, you get a 1/1 white human soldier creature token. A great way to flood the board with a lot of creatures. Speaking of which, a Johnny's Chosen. Whenever enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, and again, that counts, any of the ones that our commander's creating as well, you get a 2/2 white cat creature token. If the enchantment is an aura, you may attach it to the token. Speaking of which, we also have Archon of Sun's Grace, another great way to make even more creature tokens. Well, first up, we've got Pegasus creature control of lifelink, which is lovely. Whenever an enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, you get a 2/2 white Pegasus creature token with flying. So fill the board with flyers. What's not to love about that? And finally, Sigil of the Empty Throne. Speaking of flyers, whenever you cast an enchantment spell, you get a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying. This can get absurd in absolutely no time. But now let's move on to tactic number 10, Enchanted Ending. And yeah, we've got plenty of ways to throw a wrench to our opponent's plans. First up, Cankerbloom, a 3/2, first of all. So again, just a good creature for just 2 mana. Pay 1, sacrifice it, choose 1 destroy target artifact, destroy target enchantment, or proliferate. Whatever you need to do, just do it. Throw a wrench to your opponent's plans, or just use this as a heavy hitter later in the game. Cathar Commando, yet another great way. 3/1 flash, pay 1, sacrifice, destroy target artifact or enchantment. Mass Vandal, a 1/3 with Changeling, enters the battlefield, exile a creature card from your graveyard. If you do, exile target artifact or enchantment opponent control, so permanently get rid of something if you need to do that. Then we've got Outland Liberator, again, 2/2 for 2 mana, pay 1, sacrifice, destroy target artifact or enchantment, and we also can flip it over when it comes Nightbound, and when it does, hey, pay 1, sacrifice, do the exact same thing, or also when it attacks, destroy target artifact or enchantment. So this can destroy quite a few things throughout the game. Next up, Warbriar Blessing, an aura that can help us out. Enchant creature you control, enchant creature. When this enters the battlefield, enchant creature fights up to 1 target creature you don't control. Enchant creature gets +0/+2, so a great way to protect a creature further and also take something out with a fight. Speaking of which, Curse of the Werefox. Create a monster roll token attached to our creature control. When you do, that creature fights up to 1 target creature you don't control. So yet another aura coming into play with a fight attached to it. Then we've got Touch of the Spirit Realm. We can use this as an enchantment to take something out temporarily. Enters the battlefield, exile up to 1 target artifact creature until this leaves the battlefield, so it could be permanent. Or we can channel it by paying 1 and a white and discarding it, and basically blink a creature. So again, yet another way to take advantage of that blink effect to utilize our commander. Cleansing Nova can be a great one-sided board wipe. Choose 1 to destroy all creatures, or destroy all artifacts and enchantments, depending on however we need to use that. Whatever situation we're in, we can definitely utilize it to best benefit us. Speaking of which, Winds of Wrath, an incredible wrath for this deck. Truly one-sided. Destroy all creatures that aren't enchanted, they can't be regenerated. Our creatures are going to be fine because they're going to be enchanted. Our opponent's creatures, most likely not going to be the same for them. But now as this episode is coming to a close, it's time for me to hear from you. So let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on this deck. And if you are interested in it, make sure you check out that deck list link in the description below. So yeah, comment below, check out that deck list. And of course, as always, thanks again and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG Player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.